Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to thank WGM, Watts, Griffiths, and McQuat for sponsoring this session. My name is Tim Lee, and I'm a mining analyst here at Red Cloud Securities. We welcome Ian Harris, President and CEO of Libero Copper and Gold. He will speak to us about the company's porphyry copper projects stretching along the Americas. Ian, you have 10 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of the session. Attendees, please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A link below. Take it away, Ian.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks to our sponsors, and it's very exciting to be here today. I am Ian Harris. Before we get started, obviously there's a lot of forward-looking statements within this presentation, so everyone should do their own due diligence. I think the first point is my background. I'm a mining engineer. I've worked 25 years in the industry. 15 of those years have been working in South America, advancing some significant projects. And I like to bring that vision to the company. I'm not going to go too deep in the 10 minutes we have over the demand and supply of copper, but I think most people have recognized that both there's going to be a significant increase in supply and there's a significant issue with demand. So our job is making sure we're working on projects that have the potential to become future mines. 90% of all copper production in the world comes from open pit porphyry copper mines. That means that we are looking for projects that are near surface, disseminated, and have that at least a 200 million ton footprint that can get it into that nice OPEX range that can become a future mine. So we're applying that matrix and we want to be putting our money not only into projects that have the potential to become future mines, but also ensuring that we're advancing those projects as quickly as possible so that we are at the forefront with the best looking projects, the most advanced and de-risked projects possible. So when the next point when you're looking at projects is obviously jurisdiction. We really like the jurisdictions we're working in. We have significant projects in Canada, in BC, in Colombia, where I am actually today. Colombia most recently was rated #1 in South America for investment attractiveness by the Fraser Institute. And I can tell you after 15 years working in South America, it's very refreshing to get a question from a minister or vice minister or president of the mining agency asking, what can we do to increase investment in our country? They're very proud of their ranking and they don't want to let go of it. And we really enjoy this jurisdiction. And lastly, we're also in Argentina in San Juan, which is the premier mining district within Argentina. Some of the biggest projects in the world are located there and continues to see over 40% of the mining and the exploration investment in the country. So we really like the jurisdictions we're in. I wish I had more time to go into this, but every one of these names in copper color company, somebody's joined the company since the beginning of this year. It's really amazing the quality of the personnel that have been attracted with serious experience and not just exploration of large scale copper projects in the Americas, but also the ability to advance them. And we also have a very strong group on the ground to be able to execute on these projects. So it's very nice, despite having 3 different projects, nicely that they're located within a similar time zone within the Americas, lots of experience in the Americas, but the ability to execute on the ground. So if we look at where we're sitting today, a lot has happened with the company this year. You can see the significant amount of team that's been added to the project. We've added 2 additional projects to our portfolio, come up with an excellent strategy to execute on the ground. And we're very excited where we're sitting today because we are executing on those projects with drilling and exploration activities. So really, it's a very exciting moment. We believe that our market capital right now is probably the lowest we'll ever be. We're trading right now about $20 million market cap, key commitment by the key management of the company, owning 10% and participating in every single one of the raises over the last 2 years. And a really good story for anybody thinking about investing in the company is that every single one of the raises since August of 2019 has been done we're currently trading at 48 cents, and all the raises have done at 50 cents. So we're all shoulder to shoulder in terms of where we need this company to go to be successful and continue to have strong liquidity, even over a very quiet summer between the 3 exchanges, the Venture, OTC, and Frankfurt. And a very tight share structure at 47 million shares currently outstanding. So we really think we're great share structure, great projects, great team. So diving deeper into the projects, looking in Canada, I'm going to be focusing on Big Red. We also did 2,000 meters at Big Bulk. It's very much a binary test to see if this project has legs and can hit some of those criteria, saying, does this project have the potential to become a future mine? Well, we've put 5,000 meters into Big Red. And Big Red really is the project that is responsible for the transformation of the company, because at the end of 2020, the very last pad of the season, unfortunately with RC, we drilled multiple hits on a brand new porphyry discovery. 120 meters at 0.41, directly mineralization directly from surface, very exciting, but obviously somebody we're chomping at the bit this year to see if there's continuation to depth. We like the grades because projects within the area very similar have either turned into mines or been sold that had resources at this grade, meaning we have the potential as resources calculated. Obviously those grades are upgraded after application of a cutoff. So we're liking what we're seeing. Mineralization from surface, disseminated. Let's get back into it. So in 2021, we put in 5,000 meters into this project. Of those 5,000 meters, all that drilling is currently complete and all are in lab, and we're expecting drill results to be coming out as early as next week. But we did our homework, right? We went back in, we did the soil sampling work. We did a ground-based 3D IP survey. And the very first hole of the season was a step back about 50 meters behind that previous discovery, but getting down underneath and below it and adding, doing a hole that was 510 meters. We really liked what we saw visually because we saw that continuation of mineralization throughout the entire hole. So the very first hole of the season, very excited to see 510 meters and mineralization throughout the entire hole, and then long intersections of disseminated chalcopyrite. So very excited what we were seeing on that. Next is Big Red. In continuation, the other thing that I like is that it's very clear in the ability to create value for our companies. Libero is the comparison is to GT Gold. We're seeing the same similar types of grades. We saw that they put 30,000 meters into it, did a inferred resource, and then they later sold for $450 million. So we know a very clear pathway on how to create value for our shareholders following a very similar path. Moving quickly, next is Esperanza, and Esperanza is located in Argentina. A very sad kind of Greek tragedy, but very great story for us is that in 2018, Latin Metals drilled a 387 meter hole at 0.78 equivalent copper with over 200 meters at 1% copper starting at surface, and it was the last hole drilled on this project. 2018, copper, Argentina, and a prospect generator philosophy, and there just was not a lot of interest, but we picked this up. We're very excited about it. Obviously very excellent grades that would justify a future mine. And then as a mining engineer, the footprint of 1.2 kilometers by 700 meters wide, you can see it directly from Google Earth, the size of the alteration. So this is telling us that it's got serious legs. We're currently working on the permitting. It is elections in Argentina. Most of the focus right now is on politics, but we've have high hopes that immediately after elections that this project will be restarted. We've taken our time. We relooked at the core. We like what we're seeing. Multiple phases of mineralization, overprint, and that telltale signs of having the potential of having a telescoping and having a feeder zone. And if we look at the general area of our project, we're in elephant country, but if we look for parallels between our project and other projects, we really see the similarities between Filo de Sol and our own project. We look at the core between the two and we see the exact same types of alteration, overprint, multiple pulses. So we really get excited. In 2019 at Filo de Sol, they were testing the top of the system and developing the vectors to hunt for their feeder zone. So you can imagine when in May of 2021, we were extremely excited when they did hit their feeder zone. It only increased our being optimistic that we also could have that same type of a potential. And we look forward to drilling on this project, testing the top of the system and doing the same thing, because obviously Filo de Sol is a project that's worth over $1 billion today, and that this project has the same type of potential. Lastly is Macoa. MACOA is already a large project. It's 636 million tons at a 6.3 billion pounds of copper, over 500 million pounds of moly. World moly production is 600 million pounds. So it tells you the size and scale of this project with incredible holes already in it. I personally, in a previous life, was senior vice president and country manager of Corriente Resources, working in Ecuador, and took that project all the way through the start of construction and went on to be the first large-scale mining operation in the country. It's the same Jurassic porphyry belt just across the border in Colombia. And if you look at parallels, it is looking almost identical to the story of Solaris's Warintza, right? Restart of drilling, resource estimate in terms of same size resource, we're almost identical in size. We are actually slightly bigger at the same grade, and even way bigger in terms of the overall disseminated resource. They started with community efforts, geophysics, and then started drilling. And then that was just last year, continued with incredible results. We are doing the same thing. We've engaged the community. We've done our geophysics, and we're preparing for drilling. So we're really excited because they're worth $1.4 billion. So we know that this project has a very similar pathway. And if you even look at the original drilling, you can see the potential of over 1,000 meters through the heart of the system that we will be able to put out significant drilling results as soon as this project completely restarts. And I wish I had the time to say all the work that's been done to be able to get to this point, but we put together a strategy, really looked at what needed, putting in the social programs, lessons learned from the past. And today we're actually doing our geophysics work. It's just completed this week. And we're now moving on to our soil sampling programs in the preparation for drilling. And following in many ways the footsteps of Warintza. So, but in the 10 minutes, I wish I had time to really dive into a lot of the details, but we're basically sitting on 3 significant projects. Any single one of them can be a company maker. We have the team, we have the projects, we have the strategy, and now we're executing on them. And any single one of them will create significant value for the company. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much, Ian, for the informative presentation. We'll now move on to the Q&A session. We do have a couple of questions here. One, and you touched on it briefly, but could you elaborate a little bit more on your community relations efforts at MACOA and the other projects?
You know, there's another, one of our directors is called Ernie Mast, who did a very similar thing. He was CEO of Inmet's Cobre Panama, and also took that project all the way through the start of construction. And it went, and then First Quantum took it on and built it, and it went on to be the first large scale mining operation in the history of Panama. So we've talked a lot about what was really successful, and there was a lot of lessons learned during that time period. So here we had the opportunity to do it right from the beginning. And some of the key issues here were making sure that we have a very easy to understand value system, and a commitment by every single one of our employees to that value system, right? We have kicked off on the values of responsibility and this concept of being a good neighbor and respect, right? And that drives creating strength locally, having the alliances nationally, and driving political will. So we've been doing that, and we're very excited about how quickly we believe social license was established. We hit the ground hard starting in July, and by now we're already doing geophysics. So we really think that that's a very secret recipe, important, and the ability to create real, genuine relationships on the ground.
Great. And I guess following up, you've elaborated a bit, but we did have one question submitted. When do you expect to enter into access agreements with the local community at MACOA?
Although this is not a norm in Colombia, it is something that we have had requested to us, which we're very excited about, because we would like to establish that collaborative relationship and giving it the proper structures. So we are in the initial sets of doing something that would be equivalent to an exploration style agreement if you were in First Nation territory in British Columbia. So we're very excited about establishing that type of structure, because those types of structures have a tendency to create a very collaborative relationships and turning a very structured ability to create strong communication, openness, transparency, and obviously the ability to incorporate local knowledge into our work plans.
Great. And very quickly, when do you anticipate drilling results from Big Red?
So we have completed now almost 5,000 meters at the project. All the core is now in the lab. We're expecting results to be coming out starting next week, fingers crossed. but we expect that, it's been a very busy season in the Golden Triangle. So we have an expectation that throughout, probably through the end of the year, that we'll be seeing data trickling out. But obviously we're highly excited because the very first hole we drilled on the project showed mineralization through the entire 500 meters. So fingers crossed that those types of results will be coming out starting next week.
Great. Thank you very much, Ian, and everyone for joining us today. Up next, we have World Copper.